Good evening again, friends. We continue tonight in our reading of the Gospel of Luke. Please do take a moment to post a greeting, share a comment, let us know that you're with us, and I encourage you to hit the like button on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you've not done so yet, and feel free to share this and any other content from this channel as you may be inclined to do. Good evening, Linda. Good evening, Anthony. Friends, we begin as we always do when reading the Bible together by taking a look at the big picture for the book that we are reading tonight, being the Gospel according to Luke. We are nearing a transition point. We're in the 9th chapter, starting the 9th chapter tonight. And so we're in the last bit of this second section, rather, of Luke, Jesus and his mission that goes through the transfiguration, which it refers to here as the transformation. I've said this before, I'll say it again. It's really not a transformation because transformation involves a change. Transfiguration, on the other hand, is a change not in what is, but in what is seen. The three disciples chosen by Jesus for that moment on the mountain, see what has been with Jesus that they could not see prior to that moment. We're working our way towards that tonight. Not sure that we'll get there. We might. If we do, then we may even move beyond that in the 9th chapter into the beginning of the journey to Jerusalem and the Passion. So, friends, let's read. The left-hand column has the text as found in the New Living Translation. That's what I will be reading. The right-hand column has the text as found in the NRSV updated edition. I may make reference to that from time to time, or I may not. We'll see how it goes as we read together. Pull our timer up, get that all set while I'm doing so. Good evening, Mom. Thank you, friends, for joining us and reading with us. We resume our reading of Luke at the opening verse of chapter 9. One day, Jesus called together his 12 disciples and gave them power and authority to cast out all demons and to heal all diseases. Then he sent them out to tell everyone about the kingdom of God and to heal the sick. Take nothing for your journey, he instructed them. Don't take a walking stick, a traveler's bag, food, money, or even a change of clothes. Wherever you go, stay in the same house until you leave town. And if a town refuses to welcome you, shake its dust from your feet as you leave to show that you have abandoned those people to their fate. So they began their circuit of the villages, preaching the good news. and healing the sick. When Herod Antipas, the ruler of Galilee, heard about everything Jesus was doing, he was puzzled. Some were saying that John the Baptist had been raised from the dead. Others thought Jesus was Elijah or one of the other prophets risen from the dead. I beheaded John, Herod said. So who is this man about whom I hear such stories? And he kept trying to see him. When the apostles returned, they told Jesus everything they had done. Then he slipped quietly away with them toward the town of Bethsaida. But the crowds found out where he was going, and they followed him. He welcomed them and taught them about the kingdom of God and healed those who were sick. Late in the afternoon, the 12 disciples came to him and said, "Send the crowds away to the nearby villages and farms so that they can find food and lodging for the night. There is nothing to eat here in this remote place." No, we just read a version of this from Mark, from the lectionary. We're getting a Luke version. It's not the same one. Pay attention to the details here, but it's similar. But Jesus said, "You feed them." "But we have only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish," they answered. "Or are you expecting us to go and buy enough food for this whole crowd?" For there were about 5,000 men there. Jesus replied, "Tell them to sit down in groups of about 50 each." So the people all sat down. Jesus took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, looked up toward heaven and blessed them. Then, breaking the loaves into pieces, he kept giving the bread and fish to the disciples so that they could distribute it to the people. They all ate as much as they wanted, and afterward the disciples picked up 12 baskets of leftovers. One day, Jesus left the crowds to pray alone. Only his disciples were with him, and he asked them, "Who do people say I am?" They replied, "Some say John the Baptist, some say Elijah, and others say you are one of the ancient prophets risen from the dead." Then he asked them, "But who do you say that I am?" Peter replied, "You are the Messiah sent from God." Jesus warned his disciples not to tell anyone who he was. "The Son of Man must suffer many terrible things," he said. "He will be rejected by the elders, the leading priests, and the teachers of religious law. He will be killed, but on the 3rd day he will be raised from the dead." Then he said to the crowd, "If any of you wants to be my follower, you must give up your own way, take up your cross daily, and follow me. If you try to hang on to your life, you will lose it. But if you give up your life for my sake, you will save it. And what do you benefit if you gain the whole world, but you are yourself lost or destroyed? If anyone is ashamed of me and my message, the Son of Man will be ashamed of that person when he returns in his glory and in the glory of the Father and of the holy angels." I tell you the truth, some standing here right now will not die before they see the kingdom of God. About 8 days later, Jesus took Peter, John, and James up on a mountain to pray. And as he was praying, the appearance of his face was transformed, and his clothes became dazzling white. Suddenly, two men, Moses and Elijah, appeared to and began talking with Jesus. They were glorious to see, and they were speaking about his exodus from the world which was about to be fulfilled in Jerusalem. Peter and the others had fallen asleep. When they woke up, they saw Jesus' glory and the two men standing with him. As Moses and Elijah were starting to leave, Peter, not even knowing what he was saying, blurted out, "Master, it's wonderful for us to be here. Let's make 3 shelters as memorials. One for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." But even as he was saying this, a cloud overshadowed them, and terror gripped them as the cloud covered them. Then a voice from the cloud said, "This is my son, my chosen one. Listen to him." And the voice finished, Jesus was there alone. They didn't tell anyone at that time what they had seen. So we did indeed get to the moment of transfiguration. And so we're not going to read much more, but we'll just acknowledge the fact that we're slipping now from this second section into the third section of this book, of this gospel, which will run through somewhere in the midst of chapter 19. It's time for the journey to Jerusalem. The journey that Jesus has begun to prepare the disciples for this moment and this journey. Interesting to note here in Luke, there is none of the, "Oh Lord, this must never happen to you" part. They don't get it, but they don't act out in their not getting it, at least according to Luke's account. Interesting thing to note. Let's continue reading for just a little bit more. The next day, after they had come down the mountain, a large crowd met Jesus. A man in the crowd called out to him, "Teacher, I beg you to look at my son, my only child. An evil spirit keeps seizing him, making him scream. It throws him into convulsions so often that he foams at the mouth. It batters him and hardly ever leaves him alone. I begged your disciples to cast out the spirit, but they couldn't do it." Jesus said, "You faithless and corrupt people, how long must I be with you and put up with you?" Then he said to the man, "Bring your son here." As the boy came forward, the demon knocked him to the ground and threw him into a violent convulsion. But Jesus rebuked the evil spirit and healed the boy. And he gave him back to his father. Awe gripped the people as they saw this majestic display of God's power. Well, everyone was marveling at everything he was doing. Jesus said to his disciples, Listen to me and remember what I say. The Son of Man is going to be betrayed into the hands of his enemies. But they didn't know what he meant. Its significance was hidden from them, so they couldn't understand it. And they were afraid to ask him about it. Going to pause there, friends, and next time that we pick up Luke, we will start right there at chapter 9, verse 46. Have a blessed evening, dear friends. Morning prayers in the morning. I hope you can join us then.